Dibre haYamim bet, chapter 18. And Jehoshaphat had great riches and esteem, and aligned himself with Ahab by marriage. And some years later, he went down to visit Ahab in Shomeron. And Ahab slaughtered many sheep and cattle for him, and incited him to go up with him to Ramoth Gilead. And Ahab, sovereign of Israel, said to Jehoshaphat, sovereign of Yehuda, "Do you go with me against Ramoth Gilead?" And he answered him, "I am as you are, and my people as your people, even with you in battle." And Jehoshaphat said to the sovereign of Israel, "Please inquire for the word of Yah today." And the sovereign of Israel gathered the prophets together, 400 men, and said to them, "Do we go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or do I refrain?" And they said, "Go up, for Elohim does give it into the sovereign's hand." But Jehoshaphat said, "Is there not still a prophet of Yah here, so that we inquire of him?" And the sovereign of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, "There is still one man to inquire of Yah from him, but I hate him, because he never prophesies good concerning me, but always evil. He is Mikayahu, the son of Yimlah." And Jehoshaphat said, "Let not the sovereign say so." So the sovereign of Israel called one of his officers and said, "Bring Mikahu, son of Yimlah, at once." And the sovereign of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the sovereign of Yehuda, dressed in their robes, sat each on his throne. And they sat at a threshing floor at the entrance of the gate of Shomeron. And all the prophets were prophesying before them. And Sidkiyahu, son of Kena'anah, had horns of iron for himself, and said, "Thus said Yah, with these you push the Arameans until they are destroyed." And all the prophets were prophesying so, saying, "Go up to Ramoth Gilead and prosper, and Yah shall give it into the hand of the sovereign." And the messenger who had gone to call Mikayahu spoke to him, saying, "See, the words of the prophets with one mouth are good towards the sovereign. So please let your word be like the word of one of them, and you shall speak good." And Mikayahu said, "As Yah lives, whatever my Elohim says, that I speak." And he came to the sovereign, and the sovereign said to him, "Micah, do we go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or do I refrain?" And he said, "Go and prosper, and they are given into your hand." And the sovereign said to him, "How many times have I made you swear that you do not speak to me except the truth in the name of Yah?" So he said, "I saw all Israel scattered on the mountains, as sheep that have no shepherd. And Yah said, These have no master. Let each return to his house in peace." And the sovereign of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, "I do not say to you that he will not prophesy good concerning me, but evil." Then he said, "Therefore hear the word of Yah. I saw Yah sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of the heavens standing on his right and on his left. And Yah said, Who shall entice Ahab, sovereign of Israel, to go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead?" And one said this, and another said that. And the spirit came forward and stood before Yah and said, "Let me entice him." Yah said to him, "In what way?" And he said, "I shall go out and be a spirit of falsehood in the mouth of all his prophets." And he said, "Entice him, and also prevail. Go out and do so." And now, see, Yah has put a spirit of falsehood in the mouth of these prophets of yours, and Yah has spoken evil concerning you. And Sidkiyahu, son of Kena'anah, came near and struck Mikayahu on the cheek, and said, "Which way did the spirit of Yah pass over from me to speak to you?" And Mikayahu said, "Look, you shall see on that day when you go into an inner room to hide." Then the sovereign of Israel said, "Take Mikayahu and return him to Ammon, the governor of the city, and to Joash, the sovereign's son, and say, Thus said the sovereign, put this one in prison, and feed him with bread of affliction and water of affliction until I return in peace." And Mikayahu said, "If you return at all in peace, Yah has not spoken by me." And he said, "Hear, all you people." Then the sovereign of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the sovereign of Yehuda, went up to Ramoth Gilead. And the sovereign of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, "Let me disguise myself and go into battle, but you put on your robes." And the sovereign of Israel disguised himself, and they went into battle. And the sovereign of Aram had commanded the commanders of the chariots who were with him, saying, "Fight with no one small or great, but only with the sovereign of Israel." And it came to be when the commanders of the chariots saw Jehoshaphat that they said, "It is the sovereign of Israel." So they turned around to fight against him. And Jehoshaphat cried out, and Yah helped him, and Elohim moved them to turn away from him. And it came to be when the commanders of the chariots saw that it was not the sovereign of Israel, that they turned back from pursuing him. And a man drew a bow in his simplicity and struck the sovereign of Israel between the joints of his armor. And he said to the driver of his chariot, "Turn around and take me out of battle, for I am wounded." But the battle increased that day, and the sovereign of Israel was propped up in his chariot facing the Arameans until evening, and he died at the time of the going down of the sun.